what's up, guys? It's Joey Franchize here from Wild 94.1. Make sure you look out for my interview with Arkive right here.
In your opinion, like, why do you feel like radio is still so important in the music industry today, and like, what role does it play in the music industry today?
I think what it does, it helps. You know, we're helping these artists. You know, they're trying to sell records at the end of the day too. And I think what's interesting enough is, you know, you got people that are hyped up to, you know, get their songs streaming on certain playlists and things like that. But I feel like with radio, there's still the connection with the people, still that local connection. And it's like flattering in a sense too, that, you know, like, okay, with all this other stuff going on, like, you still look at radio as like, you know, I made it, the I made it moment. And that's awesome. And I try to do my best to find the best talent and songs actually that fit, you know, our format and what we do here, to help shine some light on, you know, local artists. You know, I've done it with a few of them. Most recently, Holloway Mark, who's from Tampa. He recently had a record, Unconditional, and an amazing song. And it was really good, and we played it for a new joint at 420. It got a good response. You know, we engage with our listeners by, you know, talking to them on the phones or texting to them. Sometimes they'll DM us or throw us on the stories, and we'll chat back like, hey, how'd you feel about this song? It continue to win because of, again, that locality and just the fact that you can still directly get to the listener, and people are, you know, we're engaging. And I think you can't really get that too much with, you know, like when you're doing stuff off streaming stuff and whatnot.
What strategies have you seen from local artists who were able to make that breakthrough into radio? What does that look like, and how could someone try to formulate that plan for themselves?
You know, everybody has their own way of like marketing. I see good guys. I mean, Famous Kick Brick does a lot of really good marketing. I admire the stuff that he does. Again, I mentioned Holloway Mark. I see the stuff that Young Dread and Richie West do, and that's the type of stuff that you want to see is these guys, you know, not only interacting with their fans, but having motion. You know, I think that's really important. And what I always tell these guys, and, you know, even when I play, you know, Show 'Em Love or whatever occasionally on the air, is just don't chase the radio, let radio chase you. Because once you got that record and once you have that motion that's undeniable, we're going to come looking for you. Like, that's gonna happen.
I like that.
So that's kind of where that should light, you know, you're watching this, just make that, you know, that motivation to kind of light the fire under you and push. Because once you got everything on lock, I mean, you know, I went and, you know, found Rod Wave. You know what I mean? A friend of mine put me onto him when I first came out here and just kind of showed me everything he had going on. And I'm hearing the music, and I'm like, hey, you got a connection to him? He's like, yeah, I know his manager. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And this is like early Rod Wave. Wow. So, you know, and we brought him up here, we interviewed him, and I came, and then, you know, Hard on Ice gets on air, and then, you know, the domino effect starts happening. And again, they already have everything in place, like the way they market themselves, their fan base, and just the type of music, everything like just correlates, and everything just kind of creates like synergy. And then you just find it, and you're like, wow, like, okay, I think this fits what we're trying to do here. And, you know, and then when you chat with them and you just kind of see the rise happen, it's awesome.
So what advice do you have to artists who are trying to get their song on the radio right now? I know you said just get that motion, get it going, kind of put in the legwork yourself. But is there anything else you can give people out there trying to get their songs on the radio?
Everybody thinks, you know, and, you know, respectfully, a lot of people think that they have the record. You know, I couldn't tell you how many times I've gotten DM'd being told, oh, I have the one, like this is the record, this is the hit, I have a hit song, let me get it to you, man, you won't regret it. Cool, like, I'm all for confidence, I'm all for, you know, selling yourself up, you know what I mean, I'm all about that. But my advice to somebody when they're trying to submit a certain record and they want it for airplay, think about your record. What's the hottest records right now? Think of your record between a SZA and Kendrick Lamar. Does it fit?
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Can you see your song? Because that's really how, you know, well, at least how I format a lot of stuff in my mind, especially when I'm mixing and stuff like that. Whenever I'm playing a new record, I always make sure I'm giving you something familiar, or I sandwich it with two familiar records. So, because when the listener, when people listen to the radio, they want to hear something they're familiar with. You know what I mean? Like, you want to hear for the hits. You know what I'm saying? And also, if you're an artist, you also want to make sure when you getting these songs played, or you're servicing these songs, that they're BDS. You know what I mean? It's like a written code in the song that credits you, and people around the country can see that your song is getting played. All the program directors, all the PDs, they all look at, they all talk to each other. They all see what they all play. Like, it's a wild, like, mainframe of just data, just running around, and that people have access to, whether it's labels, whether it's the radio stations and whatnot. So you always make sure your record is BDS and be able to you're able to get that credit, and you get a check at the end of the year, depending on how many spins you get. So look at that, it's not crazy unless you're like doing like Drake numbers or Kendrick numbers right now. So, but yeah, just always make sure that you handle all that the business wise, like with your music, the right way.
For independent artists, how much harder is it for them to get on radio, and like what can they do to improve their chances?
So I think just keep grinding. I think staying in our faces. I think meeting guys like me. If you see me in traffic, I mean, I think a lot of local artists do a good job of trying to reach out to me. Not only just try to like message me on DM, but try to pull up on me. Sometimes you gotta be annoying. You gotta be, even if I'm just like, damn, this guy's you gotta be annoying. It's part of the game. It's part of like just what it is. I mean, you're not gonna, like, closed mouths don't get fed. You're gonna have to do all that. And I think with the independent grind, you're gonna have to do it a little bit like hard. Like, you gotta go hard. Like, you gotta go harder than most. Because when you got the guys on the labels, you pretty much got the button pushed. You know what I mean? Once you got the label situation, they kind of do everything for you, and boom, the record's getting serviced. You gotta just do the real like guerrilla, real like groundwork to really push what song you really believe in and think is it. And if you're trying to get it in our hands, yeah, you're gonna have to show us what you got. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of it comes coming up to us in traffic.